Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I am talking all about makeup brushes and one tool that I have been reaching for a ton. So it's kind of like my current favorite makeup brushes. And it's not to say that these are only going to be my favorites forever and I'm not going to have other favorites. I'm just saying that these are the ones that I've been keeping bundled together that I've been using a ton. I make sure to spot clean them because I can't get enough of them pretty much. And it's just what I've been using. Use whatever works for you. I just thought I would share with you. Before I talk about that though, I do want to show you how I store my makeup brushes. And honestly, if you have a system that works for you, just use whatever works. You can use almost anything to hold and store your makeup brushes. You can use like a cute coffee mug. You can use those like little glass containers, either empty out like a Bath and Body Works candle that doesn't burn any longer. You can use anything. But I do have two storage units. That's four. I do have two storage units that I use to store and hold my brushes. One of them is a glass container, and that really houses the brushes that I don't use a ton. So it's really like kind of my neglected brushes. And then I have this right here, and this holds the brushes that I'm rotating through. So this is a little carousel that I found at TJ Maxx. And I want to say it was under $15. You can find this like at Hobby Lobby. I don't know, check Michael's, TJ Maxx, Ross, Marshalls, those kind of stores in the like stationery type section. So yeah, this rotates and it has four different compartments. It has little kind of triangular shaped compartments. So in three of those compartments, I house facial brushes, foundation, blush brush, powder brushes, that kind of thing. And then in one of them holds all of my eyeshadow brushes because it's just enough space to hold my eyeshadow brushes. So see, this has its own little compartment right there. So that's what I use. And I just like that it rotates and it's just really easy to see all of your brushes. But again, use whatever works for you. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you the one tool and the makeup brushes that I use and that I've really been loving a ton. And I'm also going to go in order of how I apply my makeup. So when I'm talking about face brushes, I'm going to show you the order that I use my makeup, or apply my makeup rather. And then when we get to the eyeshadow brushes, it's the order that I apply my eyeshadow. Use this video very loosely. There are like no rules. Use what works for you. Kind of play around with your different brushes, maybe finding new brushes and you know, the way that you apply your makeup. I mean, makeup's supposed to be fun, so just enjoy it. Okay, so first off, for foundation, I have been using the Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge for such a long time. I think pretty much since it first came out. And then since I've been using that one for way longer than what I should have, I went ahead and grabbed my Beauty Blender. And I have to say I used it this morning for the first time in a long time. And I do feel like there's a little bit of a difference between the application of the Real Techniques and this one right here. I have probably in the past said that they are dupes and they're pretty dupeable, but I don't know what it is. I just feel like this really helped my foundation look flawless, and I don't know. It kind of like didn't soak up so much foundation, I think is what it was. And just like the pouncing technique that I used, it really just made my foundation look really good today. So I've really been enjoying this. Now, after I apply my foundation, I usually let it set for about a minute and just let everything kind of soak in. So usually at that time, I'll apply like my eyeshadow primer, my paint pot, whatever it is that I'm using at that time. And so then I go back to my face. So after that has set, I apply my powder. The powder that I've been loving is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Trio. I think the ambient lighting powder in Dim alone is just fantastic. Really just helps your skin look kind of airbrushed and flawless and gives a little bit of luminosity. And for about the last month and a half, more or less, I have been using the Sephora Pro Airbrush number 55. You guys, if you have the Hourglass powder and you have this, you need to pair them together. They are like super magical, super amazing. And if you don't have this brush, like add it to your list because this is such a great brush. I mean, not just for powder, you can use it for many things as many people do, but I have been using it with those powders and I just love it. It really just buffs the powder into your face really, really nicely and it feels so, so good. So this plus your powder, especially the Hourglass Ambient Lighting powders, is going to be perfection. You're going to love it, I promise you. So that's the Sephora number 55 brush. Now, after I apply my powder, I apply my bronzer, and I use my bronzer to just kind of warm up my face. So I'm not talking contour, I'm talking about giving my face another color other than just one color. I like to have like a little bit of warmth. So I put that right here in my cheeks. I go up the sides to my forehead, my neckline, and down my neck a little bit. The brush that I love to use with that is the Bobbi Brown bronzer brush. It's super huge. So you can see it's enormous, and I love it for that reason. I love that it kind of just like places the color there, but it also buffs it out really nicely. So you're not like having to use another brush, and it basically does all the work for you. So I just apply it, buff it in, and then just kind of go to town with it. So it's a really, really good brush. This one does come with a pretty high price point, but it's totally worth it. It's so good. And if you have a CCO near you, just check there sometimes, because sometimes they do get this brush in stock, or the older version. I think there was like a different type of brush, I'm not too sure. But anyway, it's a great brush. Okay, so after I apply my bronzer, I go in and I contour. And I only contour two areas. I contour right here on my cheeks just to kind of slim it up a little bit. And normally I contour my nose. I did not do that today because I was in a little bit of a rush. But normally I will contour the sides of my nose and the tip right here just to kind of make it look a little bit slimmer. So the brush that I love for that, and you can find dupes of this through MAC, Sigma. So it's the Delium Tools 944, and it's just a small, precise contour brush. And I think that's actually the name of it, is Precision Contouring Brush, but it has a nice point to it. So what I do is I just dip it into my taupey kind of ashy color in the Anastasia Contour Kit, and I just place it right here. So that's how I use this brush. I really like the point. I think that the precision in this brush really helps you to kind of chisel it out and be very precise, as it implies. So I love this brush for that, and I think it's just super great. Okay, so that takes care of contour, and then after applying my contour, I like to apply my blush. Now, the brush that I've been loving for this, and I don't know how I went so long without it, is the IT Cosmetics French Luxury Boutique brush, something like that. This brush is so good, you guys. It's the only blush brush that I've been using. No, that's a lie. I do use two other brushes if this one is like, if I've slacked in my spot cleaning. I do use two other ones. I use the Delium Tools, what is this, 960, which is like a flat paddle brush. And then I also use my Bobbi Brown blush brush, which I really do love. But this one is number one. I was very hesitant to pick this one up because of the price point. I think it's like a high 30 price point, but it's so good. When you use this brush, it really doesn't matter if you have a drugstore blush or if you have a high-end blush. You just want to be cautious when you use this and dip this into your product, because it picks up a ton of product. So that is that. And I feel like out of my face brushes, I'm going to show you one more, but these three right here, I would say don't even worry about finding a dupe. Just invest in these three face brushes because they do all the work for you. They come at a high price point, but they're totally worth it. These are investments. They just apply your makeup so well, so your makeup looks good. It does the work for you. Amazing brushes, as I like choke on my own words. So anyway, this is the IT Cosmetics blush brush. Love it, highly recommend it. So good, so soft, such great quality. Okay, the last brush that I want to talk about is what I've been using to apply my highlighter. That's the last step in my facial makeup. So that is the Sephora Pro Fan Brush. This is the number 65. And I basically, just go in, apply it right here and then down a little bit. So that's how I've been using this. You can use obviously you can use anything. The other brush that I was using before that is this one is from Coastal Scents, I think. I'm not too sure. But the MAC version is the MAC 159. So I have used that for highlight. I just really love this because it's so precise and just doesn't get so messy and everywhere. This one's really good for contouring as well. So you can use this two ways. You can use it for highlight or you can use it to contour. Because it's so thin, it's really going to get in there and then chisel that contour color in there. So, but I've been using it for highlight. So I love this one for highlight. Those are my face brushes. Again, these three, totally worth it. Add them to your wish list and get them because they're totally worth it. Okay, now I have to go into eye brushes and I have to move kind of quickly because I've already been talking a lot. So let's go ahead and talk about my favorite current eyeshadow brushes. First, what I do is I apply my eyeshadow primer and I use my MAC Painterly Paint Pot. I apply that with my finger and I apply that from my lash line all the way up to my brow. So I just go ahead and blend that out. I let that set for about 30 seconds to a minute. And then I go in with this brush right here. This one is from Walmart. I don't even know the brand. It's probably like a Walmart brand, but it's one of their like HD brushes. The way that I use this is I go in with Wet n Wild's Brulee Single Eyeshadow and I just apply that also everywhere that I applied my paint pot, over the paint pot. So from lash line up to brows. And that way it gives me like a nice texture, if you will, to work with and when I apply my eyeshadow. So that's one way that I use it. And then as a final step, I use this to apply my under eye setting powder. So I use it both ways. It's a really good brush. It's the perfect size. And I do have larger eyelids. So I feel like this really just kind of gets the product on there quickly and efficiently, and you know, it blends everything out. So, okay, there's that. The next thing I do is I apply my crease color, and I like to use a transitional color. So just kind of like a neutral brown, something like that. So there's no like harsh lines, it's just your transitional color. So the brush that I love to use for that is the Delium Tools 785. I've talked about this one before. And there's something about this brush that I love. I have the MAC version, the Sigma version, and I love this one for some reason. And I like it because of the size, and again, because I have bigger lids, it really just helps the color go on there and it diffuses it really fast and it blends it out really nicely. So I love the Delium Tools 785, my favorite crease transitional brush. You can find so many crease brushes, but this one is definitely my favorite. There's just something about the size and the hair that I love about this brush. Okay, so next, after I apply the crease and transitional color, I like to apply another crease color over that. So usually what I use for that is the Delium Tools 776. And there are different versions of this brush right here, so this is pretty dupable. But the Delium Tools is definitely what I have been using and reaching for. So this one this is a really good brush actually for so many things. This one is really great to contour with, but it's also good for applying like your lid color. It's good for applying your crease color, your transitional shade. It's good for just highlight if you wanted to. It's such a great brush. I think that no matter what brand you go with in this type of brush, I think this is a really good brush to get and get like 2 or 3 of them and have them because they're so good, again, because you can use them for so many things. So that again is the Delium Tools 776, and I love that too. Just apply another color on top of just that crease area, not so much higher, but just that crease area, and just kind of give it a little bit more warmth and dimension. Now, sometimes when I'm doing a really bold look, I like to be very strategic with where I place my crease color and give it that crease definition. For that, I like to use the Delium Tools 781. So it's not so much like a fluff brush. It's not, it's not so fluffy. It's a little bit more precise and dense. I like a brush like this just again to be like super precise with that crease color and just kind of give it almost, not so much like a cut crease, but do you guys get what I'm saying? Like just place that color there and just make it really intentional and really like stand out and very dramatic. So love this brush for that. And then for applying my outer V color, I like to use 2 brushes. The concept is the same regardless of brand. It's basically a slanted angled brush like this. So this one right here is the e.l.f. Professional Defining Eye Brush. This is only, I kind of like got mixed up a little bit there. This one is only $1 and I really like this one for the lower lash line as well. So whenever I place color there, I don't have color there today, but whenever I place color on my lower lash line, I like to use something really thin and precise and then blend it out if I'm going to blend it out, which I usually do. And I'll use any 3 of these brushes. It doesn't really matter what I use to blend it out. But so this is really good for just placing that outer V color right here and then just kind of blending it in. or something fluffier like this. And this one is a Delium Tools 765. And I know I'm showing a lot of Delium tools. They have no idea that I'm doing this video. They didn't pay for my brushes or give them to me or send them to me or anything like that. They're just brushes that I really enjoy. But again, the concept is the same. This one is pretty dupeable as well. I think as long as you find like an angled, what's going on with my hair? I think as long as you find like an angled brush, again, the brand doesn't really matter, but I do like something that's a little bit more fluffier for the outer V color, just because, or for the outer V shade, just because it really helps to like kind of like blend it in. So I just kind of place the color here, and then I place the color here, and then I just kind of like just shade it in. Does that make any sense? I sure hope so. Okay. Then I apply my lid color. So now not all the time do I like use all these steps and put all these colors on my eyeshadow, on my eyelid. Sometimes it's just 2 colors. Sometimes it's 1 color going into the crease, a highlight color, if that sometimes, and I'm done. So it's not that I use like these steps every time. So you kind of get the gist of this. It's not that I always do this, but when I do, that's what I like to use. Okay, then I apply my lid color, because a lot of the times when I apply like my transition shades, my crease shades, my outer V, they kind of like sometimes powder will fall on my lid and color can get lost. And so for that reason, I like to really apply my lid shade last, or second to last. So I like to use something flat for that, and I like to really press that color onto my lid. And I like 2 brushes for that. The first one is a Sigma E55 brush. It's just a flat paddle brush. This one is pretty dupeable as well. You can find different brands that carry something like this. And then the other one is the MAC 239, which is amazing. This one is so good. You can see it's super, super flat. And this is so good for pigments, for just really getting that lid color intensified. This one is an amazing, amazing brush for that. So love that one. And then lastly is the brush that I like to use for my highlight shade and for the inner corner whenever I use an inner corner highlight. I don't do it all the time, to be honest with you. Sometimes I'm good not having anything there, but I do like to always put something in my highlight area or my brow bone area. And for that, I like the Real Techniques. And I don't know what this is. Oh, this is the shading brush. So that's what it looks like. It's just really nice and small. It fits my inner corner just right. And it's also pretty precise enough to get like right underneath the brow bone. So love that for that. So those are my favorite brushes. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you have any questions or comments, you can always leave that down below in the comment section. Let us know what some of your favorite brushes, holy grail brushes are. Share with us, because I love makeup brushes. I mean, clearly this is not enough. I have a whole other container full of brushes. So leave your favorites down below. Let me know if you have any questions over anything I mentioned. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys are having a great day or night, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.